Hi guys, welcome to A Sip of Faith. My name is Sierra and I am your host. And here we believe in building faith in you through faith through God. So today I'm going to talk about a sip of friendship. And this came to me after I was spending time with a friend of mine. I hadn't seen her in a very long time, and she's usually one of those friends like you can laugh together, you can learn, cry together. Sometimes we talk, we have Bible study and all the things. So after hanging out with her and just getting really just refreshed in a sense, it's like talking to God like, okay, I know you want me to restart the podcast because you never told me to stop. But like, what do I talk about? And then so hanging out with her, I just got all these ideas and like refresh creativity. And I do feel like I'm personally in a season of like fresh wind. So that's what it felt like. So today I want to talk about how do we become good iron to sharpen those around us. And so let's talk about like what being a good friend or iron looks like according to the Bible. And what I wrote down and what came to me was like the blessings of friendship. So you have refreshed, loved, encouraged, and covered. So refreshed being, I quote from Proverbs 27:9, and it's the heartfelt counsel of a friend is as sweet as perfume and incense. And so like I said, I hung out with her and I just felt like so refreshed. I felt new. I felt lighter. Some of the things I was worried about, I wasn't worried about them anymore. Just life felt good in a sense. And like I said, you just felt refreshed. It was like sweet as perfume and incense. This is something where, you have an experience in life and you're just, after that experience is done, you can like take a deep breath and your shoulders relax and like everything feels calm. It's kind of like that. Or like when you take a real good nap, or like you have your favorite cup of coffee and it's just made perfectly, like things like that literally refresh your soul. So that's number one. And then loved, I have Proverbs 17:17. A friend loves at all times, and a brother is born from adversity. And this one stuck out to me just because this friend of mine, and call her my play sister, we've known each other our whole lives, and she's the friend that, you have friends you have to like kind of coddle, but then you have friends that you can be frank with, like a brother or his sister. Like there's a little bit of adversity, there's a little bit of attitude sometimes, but you can be brutally honest with this person, as like say you couldn't be with an acquaintance or you couldn't be with a new friend per se. So I think just loving at all times, and then a brother being born from adversity is something that it reminded me of, because it's like we've been through a lot of different phases in our relationship, but we always come back to each other. And then we've gone through situations where like the conversation or the end result isn't always 100% pretty, but when you have those friendships that you can be 100% yourself in, with like no retaliation, that always, or I wouldn't say no retaliation, but you have a place to be authentically you. It always feels good. And then we go down to encouraged from Ecclesiastes 4:9-10, and it says, "Two are better than one because they have a good reward for their labor. If one falls down, one can help the other up." And this was great because, like I said, I got like new creativity, and just like I already felt like I was in a season of fresh wind, but like even more so after this hangout we had, because she's the type of friend like we could bounce, we're both creatives, we can bounce ideas off of each other. we can kind of piggyback off of, you know, what each other is doing. We can collaborate on things. It's like, you should come on the podcast. And she's like, I was thinking about doing a podcast. She does YouTube. I'm dabbling into YouTube in different avenues. So it's just good as like a sense of inspiration, and then just a sense of not like being alike, but also being parallel, in a sense that like the Bible says, one man plants, another one waters. And it's like that we kind of like have this push and pull with each other, where like I leave feeling good and full, and she leaves feeling good and full, and like problems get solved, and you know, we talk things out, and we talk about God, and we talk about business and our dreams and stuff. And so you leave feeling hopeful, you leave full of faith. And I feel like that's good to have like people around you who can believe in you, pray into what you're believing in for yourself, see that, you know, what God has over your life and your gifts and your talents and the things that he wants you to do. So I feel like that's always a blessing. And lastly, for the blessings of friendships, I have covered, and I just simply put, have here, godly community covers you in prayer. And so in this meetup, and in many of the meetups that we've had with each other, it's been like, I'm going through this, and it's been like, okay, I'm gonna pray for you. And leaving here knowing that you have an assignment to intercede for your brother or sister in Christ, and actually putting in the work for that thing, and then seeing the testimonies that come out of that, is an amazing experience. We both went through a season of unemployment and not working, and through prayer and petition, we both last year ended up with jobs. Now we were both in that season before. She just got a new job, awesome for her. I'm still waiting, but knowing that she's in my community and she's in my neighborhood, as the saints say, I know God is in the neighborhood, and I know I'm next in line. So it's just good to, even just for building a faith, see other people's testimony and see how God moves in their lives, not from a distance, but from somewhere that's tangible, through somebody that you can, you know, touch and be close with in community, and just having that type of testimony right there in your face. Because I think sometimes we hear testimonies, and because we don't know that person, or we can't see the things manifest in real life, we don't always like truly believe. Like, it's a temporary feeling of, oh, that feel good, or like, God, I've seen what you can do for others, do it for me. But I think when you have people in your life and you can see the hand of God moving in their life, you also know that the hand of God is moving in your life, right? So it's kind of like, if you see your mom in the kitchen cooking dinner for the whole house, you know you're gonna eat too. And that's what it feels like. It's like, I've seen God bless her, and I know God is gonna bless me next. And he's blessed me in different ways. And, you know, I think she's also, I know she is inspired by some of the ways that God has blessed me. So I think that's good. So in terms of the blessing in friendship, I feel like a good friendship, or being good iron, or having good iron around you, should leave you feeling refreshed, loved, encouraged, and covered. So I want you guys to sip on this for the week and really think about like how your community is making you feel, and how you're making your community feel, and vice versa. So I feel like being a part of good community, like I said, should make you feel refreshed and revitalized. One of the other things I was thinking about and reflecting on is safe spaces, harbor vulnerability, and breakthrough. Sometimes you need that person to say like, you can do it, or I believe God's gonna do it to you. You need people around you who can speak life into you, who can, you know, either see what God's done for them, or see what God is doing for you, and really talk you through some of those seasons where you don't feel like you have a lot of faith, or it doesn't feel like it's happening, or you're putting in the work and you're not seeing the fruits of your labor, but you have people around you who continue to cheer you on. And then in regards to like vulnerability and breakthrough, I think having a safe space to where you can be guards down, but also in the presence and an environment where God is creates a space for like things to happen and move in your life. Having a place where you can be vulnerable in God's eyes, in God's presence is really important. And I'm not just talking about church, because sometimes at church you don't have that, depending on your church culture. But having, friends or family, or, small groups at some places where you can say like, hey, this is what I'm actually struggling with, or hey, this is the stronghold over my life right now, or hey, I don't have any faith and I need y'all to help me and pray for me, is really, really powerful. And I think the devil uses isolation because he knows that community and safe spaces can harbor breakthrough. So I think that's something to think about, like even in times where you feel like you want to be alone because of depression or mental battles or whatever the case may be. Think about how good you might have felt with your last hangout. Think about how good you might have felt being in that community, in your spaces, around your people, and how good it felt. Now if it didn't feel good, you might need some new people around you, but it should come with love, and sometimes that does come with rebuke, and that doesn't always feel good. But you shouldn't be in places where you get rebuked and then you get nothing after. You don't get the love. Like you should be like, okay, I know this is an area that I need to work on, and you should at least feel inspired. I feel like it's gonna hurt. Rebuke doesn't feel good, but I don't know, I'm all for self-improvement always, and I feel like having people around me who hold me accountable to what I know I need to do, or what I said I was gonna do, is always great. So then to piggyback off of that, I have godly love even in hard times makes one feel accepted, and laughter heals the heart. So the Bible does say laughter heals the heart, and a kind word brings encouragement and things of that nature. So I think that even in hard times, and you having a space where you don't feel judged, or you providing a space for others that they don't feel judged, is very powerful. Because if you can be your whole self in a place with the intention in the heart of wanting to be better, that's so powerful to be able to have a space to do that, versus having to hide or be shameful or do it by yourself. It's great to have people in your corner to hold your hand through it. Let me see. And then lastly, which I want you to sip on, is having a friend who keeps you on a good or godly path is a blessing. Having people to encourage you, pray for you, and hold you accountable. So like I was saying, just good environments that people see who you are. They see what God is doing in your life. They see what you want to do. They see what you're capable of, and they're holding you accountable to those things. They're willing to encourage you and pray for you, and even provide that rebuke if needed, is always good for you to have, or good for you to be. So to close out this episode, is a very quick one, but I just wanted to share a little bit of a testimony about how great my friends are, and want you to reflect on some of what you heard of okay, is this an environment that I have around me? Are these people that I have around me who can provide me the things that we talked about? And am I also that person for others? So with that, think about what part of you needs sharpening to sharpen the iron around you. And so what this could look like for some people is maybe you have a bad habit of being cynical and always seeing the worst in something. Maybe you're a bystander in the sense that you're aware of the sin in your friend's life, but you're choosing to be silent about it. And just remember that rebukes don't always have to be harsh. You can correct with love, and it doesn't have to be a full intervention. Or maybe it's as simple as picking up the phone, checking in a little bit more often, inviting someone for coffee, grocery shopping, or game night. So I encourage you to think about this week and apply it to your life and see where you can improve, or see, what type of friends you want around you. Because sometimes we do have to ask God for, like, send me better community, or send me, friends with a heart after your own, because you don't have that. You might be in a season of isolation and you don't have anyone around you, but just remember, you always have a friend in Jesus, and you can always come hang out with us online. So I thank you guys for listening and tuning in. Leave a comment and let us know how you're sharpening yourself this week, or once you've acted on something. We'd love for you to share your testimony. If you want to connect with us more, feel free to follow us on TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram. Links to our merch and journals will be in the show notes. Thank you for listening, and we'll talk next week. Bye.